Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, let's talk westerns. It's my announcement video for June on the Range. So at this point, you should imagine me pretending to be a cowboy, saying yeehaw and things like that. Clearly, I'm not going to actually do that because that would be embarrassing and painful for all of us. But yeah, just imagine that. Right, let's get on with the video then. So, June on the Range, if you don't know, is a fantastic reading event created by the great Michael K. Vaughan, dedicated to reading westerns. So this is the third year June on the Range is running. There are a bunch of co-hosts, a posse of co-hosts. I will leave links to all of their channels in the description. I'm delighted to be a co-host again for the third year running. So the idea of June on the Range is just to read a western. You know, one, more, however many you want to, but to give a western a try. Westerns are, you know, the western is a genre which was huge at one time. You know, really dominated, you know, kind of popular fiction, particularly for you know a male audience in the US, but internationally as well. And has really, you know, massively died out since kind of the kind of 50s and 60s in particular. You know, also clearly was huge in film during that period as well. And, you know, again, you just don't really see westerns get made that much anymore. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. There are a number of things, you know, kind of politically to the modern eye that are problematic about westerns. But that doesn't mean there aren't some fantastic books to read out there. I've got a pile of things I'm going to talk to you about today, which are kind of possibilities, things that I might read for June on the Range. I'll lock down my TBR nearer the time. But this is an event where there's, you know, I don't think there's a bingo card. I don't think there's even weekly prompts necessarily. It's more just, you know, give a western a try, because loads of people just, you know, the idea of a western seems so dated and so different from the kind of things people might normally read that you know, people just dismiss it as a genre. But there are some fantastic westerns out there, so definitely worth checking some out. So let me talk to you about some of the things I'm going to be reading then. So one of the recommendations, certainly from last year for June on the Range, was to try and read a book by two different authors. So those two authors being two of the giants of the Western genre, Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour. So I did that last year. I'm going to try and do that again this year. So the Zane Grey book I think I'm going to read is The Border Legion. I'm not going to read this copy of The Border Legion though. This is a first edition of The Border Legion by Zane Grey from 1916 that was very kindly sent to me by Heidi, one of my subscribers, some time ago. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful thing. You can see just how old it looks. This book is, where are we now? So it's like 108 years old. Well, let me open it up and you can see. I mean, it's fragile, so I do need to be careful. But yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So yes, I'm going to get hold of a digital copy of The Border Legion by Zane Grey, I think, and read that so that I don't destroy this wonderful artifact. So that's the Zane Grey book I'll be reading. I've got a few Louis L'Amours. I think I've got some more in a box in the garage, but I've got these three kind of on my TBR cart here. So I will probably try at least one of these. So I've got High Lonesome, The Empty Land, and Galloway. So yeah, I'll try at least one of these. Galloway, I think, is one of the Sackett books. So one of L'Amour's most kind of long-running and popular series was about this family called the Sackett family. I read a Sackett book last year for June on the Range, so maybe I'll try Galloway this year. I will also be continuing my ongoing read-through, probably, of the Edge books by George G. Gilman. So the next one for me to read of those is book 22. This is in pristine condition. This feels like it's completely unread. So this edition was published in 1978, this edition. So how old does that make it? 22... nearly 50, yeah, it's getting on for 50 years old, like 46 years old, and still just pristine. So the Edge books are a series of westerns written by a British author. So there were a number of western series written by British writers during the 70s in particular, a group who came to be known as the Piccadilly Cowboys. Edge is definitely my favourite of those series, so I'll probably give this one a try. This is Slaughter Road, book 22. I've then got some more modern British westerns. So another one of my subscribers, who is the author of these books, Dirk Hawkman, not his real name, sent me these 3 copies, these 3 books a couple of weeks ago. So this is Black Horse Westerns is a British publisher. They're now no longer publishing, sadly, but they publish these lovely hardcover westerns, which you tend to find in British libraries. So they're really nicely put together, and I'm really looking forward to trying some of these. I've been wanting to try a Black Horse Western for a while, so to discover that one of my viewers is a Black Horse author was a wonderful thing. So anyway, I've got 3 of those. I've got Texan Secrets, Double Barreled, and Vulture Wings. So I will definitely try at least one of those. And then I've also got this lovely Library of America edition, which Michael very kindly sent me the first year of Junior on the Range. So this has 4 classic Western novels in it. If you are looking for a Western novel to read, I highly recommend at least 3 of these. So I've read the first 3 books in this edition, in this collection. So those are The Oxbow Incident by Walter Van Tilburg Clarke, which is just phenomenal. So a book about a posse basically going after some rustlers in order to bring them to justice. But it's about, kind of the effects of mob rule. A really, really excellent book. You've got Shane by Jack Schaefer, which is, just a classic good guy against bad guy kind of Western, really tense, really, really enjoyable, and quite a quick read as well. And then The Searchers by Alan LeMay, which is kind of a bit of a grander Western, if you like, but really, really good. The one I haven't read yet is the 4th one, which is Warlock by Oakley Hall, which I think is supposed to be a bit heavier going than some of the others in this volume. It's certainly longer, so I may give that a try. And then I've also got another lovely Library of America edition, this one of Elmore Leonard Western. So this was very kindly sent to me by Rick Croucher a while ago. Rick has his own YouTube channel, so I'll link to that in the description as well. I like Elmore Leonard. I've read more of his crime novels than I have his westerns, but I've read a couple of his westerns and really enjoy them. So this one has got 5, well, actually it's got 4 novels and then some short stories as well. So it's got Last Stand at Sabre River, Hombre, Valdez is Coming, 40 Lashes Less One, which I've read already, and some short stories as well. So I will probably read at least one of the novels from this too, I think. So those are, kind of, that's what's on my pad as potential westerns. There's a couple of other things I've got that I may try and pick up during the month as well. But the other thing I wanted to do, I was thinking about the status of the western in American culture as a as a genre, both in cinema and in books. I was thinking about what it tells us about American culture, what it embodies in terms of American culture, and how Americans, particularly maybe in kind of the 50s and 60s, saw themselves. So this concept of one man being able to save the world, almost, one man standing up against what's wrong, feels to me like a central part of westerns, and also that kind of pioneering spirit. So the idea of going out into uncharted lands and building a life for yourself there is, I think, central to westerns as well. So I was thinking about that and thinking about what is the British equivalent of westerns. Clearly, I'm not an American. I'm British. So I was thinking about what's the British equivalent. And I think the British equivalent is like the naval adventure. So things like the Hornblower books by C.S. Forester. The Aubrey Maturin books by Patrick O'Brien. So those kind of books that are about the seafaring nature of British history. So one of the things that we cling on to, and you saw this a few years ago in the Brexit referendum, I think, the sense of Britain as this plucky small island that managed to rule large parts of the world during the Victorian era, and how our seafaring, our navy, were a huge part of that. And I think naval adventures were really, really popular in the UK in similar sort of time, like 50s and 60s in particular. My grandfather was a huge fan of that kind of book, so I thought I would try and read at least one British kind of naval adventure story as well, as a kind of counterpoint. So the kind of British version of that kind of male dominated adventure story that in some way reflects on the culture that it was born out of. So yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm onto something there in terms of the two things being equivalent to each other. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hopefully you will take part in June on the Range. As I say, I'll leave a link to all of the channels in the description that are hosting it. You will see, announcement videos from all those channels over the next few days if they haven't got up already. But yeah, I'll leave it there and say, as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.